All right, welcome to the GTP podcast. We're here with Caroline Newman, who played tennis at College of Charleston, and it went to the UNC Med School, and is currently in residency. Yeah, so we're gonna ask her a few questions and see where it goes from there. Okay, so I like to get started with how you became you, right? A lot of people we have on here is like, if we ask these kids, you're going to go play tennis at College of Charleston, you're going to go to med school, they would say, sign me up. Okay, so how do we get there? You're one of 4 kids.
Yep.
How did having siblings, especially 3 other ones, how did that shape you to who you are today?
Yeah, good question. So yes, I grew up, I have 3 sisters. We were all very close. We're all actually born within 5.5 years. And 3 of them played tennis. 2 actually ended up playing tennis in college as well. So let's see, for my tennis career, it all started back at Sherwood Tennis Club, which is a tennis club in Greensboro. And my older sister, Catherine, she's actually probably the best of all 3 of us. She played, and our coach Tom Herb really saw that she was pretty good, and so he told my parents, like, hey, let me give her a couple lessons, see how much she has a lot of potential. Let's see how she does. So she ended up playing on the advanced tournament team, and this is really funny. So after each match they won, they all went in his Winnebago and got ice cream. And my younger sister and I are like, man, we want ice cream. We want to go to Baskin Robbins. So we ended up training hard when we were younger to be good enough to play on the advanced tournament team, so we could go get some ice cream after matches. And that was kind of where our tennis career picked up. And kind of throughout our life, I think Catherine really set the stage. She did well in school, she did well in tennis, and she started playing state tournaments, and then started playing southern tournaments and then national tournaments, and we all just kind of followed her lead and did the same things. And so from a tennis perspective, I think really having sisters is the whole reason I got into tennis and got to be playing competitively. And then really we just put a lot of work in. I mean, we grew up playing tennis and soccer competitively, which I think helped sort of balance each other out. And we really didn't get burned out in either sport, because we were playing both sports pretty competitively. And then we always had each other to hit with. We never took days off, which I don't recommend. But even on Christmas Day, I remember we'd like open presents and like have Christmas, and then as soon as we finished that, we'd go play tennis for like a couple hours. So we always had each other to play with, which was lovely. And that was kind of where, so that's how my tennis career started. And same with classroom. Like, Catherine was really smart and did well, and everyone, she started out getting all A's, so the rest of us were like, well, this is what we need to do. So we all kind of worked hard that way too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would you say it's more competitiveness amongst you guys, or is it getting along and just pushing each other up more positively?
So it's very positive. My mom actually had a rule that she's like, you always have your sisters, and she would get very upset with us if we ever were mean to each other. And so she's like, the world can always pull you down, but your sisters are who pulls you up. And so we were really not mainly competitive with each other. I think we always encouraged each other when we did well, and because Catherine did well, we wanted to do well, but it wasn't like we were like, oh, we don't, it was more of a friendly thing versus a negative thing. And Kristen and I actually, we are within 18 months, so every other year we'd be in the same age group.
Okay. And
I remember some of my worst matches, we had to play each other 3 times in our lives. And I kind of understand on a very small scale how Venus and Serena feel when they hate playing each other, because I know her strengths, I know her weaknesses. I was upset, at one point, when we were younger, I was a little better than her, and then as we got older, she got way better than me. And I'd be upset one time when I knew she was beating me and I was beating her, and I was like, but she needs to beat me. And it was just so we were not that good at playing each other, but it was really fun. We actually played doubles together growing up. We played doubles together in college.
Okay.
And that was really fun. She totally, when we were younger, we balanced each other out really well on the court. And when we were older, she totally carried me.
Yeah.
So it was kind of nice. Whole reason I got to play doubles in college is because I played with her. And we had a really weird style. We'd play 2-back pretty frequently growing up. Neither of us were great at net, and so we would play 2-back, and both were really consistent, kind of like a backboard, and got everything back and beat a lot of teams that were much better than us. Actually, in the 12s, we were number 2 in the nation at one point. I think that was
That's
kind of
impressive.
yeah. That
That's
was
impressive.
I think it was inflated, but but we were good when we were little, and then she got to be really good, and it was really fun to play with her. And then Catherine was always out of my age group. She was 2 years older than me, so we were never in the same age group.
Yeah.
But we got to train with her every day, and that was really fun.
So, I have a rumor, okay, that I need you to confirm or deny.
Okay.
You grew up without TVs in your house, or
Oh.
at some point there was no TVs?
So that is we didn't have cable. So we had
Okay.
a TV, but it literally only had like 6 channels on it, and we were not allowed to watch TV during the. We were allowed to watch 1 hour of TV a day, but the whole family together had to agree what it was.
Okay.
So I know we had Seventh Heaven, which is on I think Channel 3. So we did have TVs, but it wasn't really a big thing in our lives. Like watching TV was not a thing really.
Do you think that helped you?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because I'm a pediatrician now, and the biggest thing one of the biggest things is most kids are watching a lot of TV a day, and the rule from the American Academy of Peds is actually like their recommendation is less than 2 hours a day. But even 2 hours a day, I'm like, that's 2 hours you could be out playing or out, doing something better for you. But yeah, so I mean, honestly, I never really. We were busy. We played several sports. We were competitive. We did all the schoolwork, and so TV to me was really not a thing. We maybe watched an hour a day, but usually not. We didn't really have time.
And this is before the cell phone boom too.
Oh
right?
yeah, exactly.
So, I mean,
I know.
It's
Yeah,
go outside or do nothing.
Yeah,
so.
I honestly don't even know if I was. I mean, it's hard now because I find myself on my phone a lot, and I'm like, man, I could probably be doing so much more with my life if I'm not on my cell phone.
Absolutely. So, did some deep digging in this interview. I have a quote from your College of Charleston coach.
Oh gosh. Okay.
All right. So he or she was it?
Coach.
He said.
Yep.
He said, Caroline is the heart and soul of our team. She's the hardest worker, best leader, and shows incredible fight on the court. She has the ability to make everyone around her better. I get emotional every time I think about this being Caroline's last year. So I guess that was from your.
Oh man.
So that's So obviously you had a big impact on him and that team. So how does that happen? Where does that come from? That what he talks about with the hard work. Where do you think all that came from?
My family. I think we all pushed each other to work hard. My coach, Tom Herb, used to tell us that you can. He always used to say it's not talent that wins matches, and it's not talent that gets you places. It's your heart and it's your hard work, and that for me especially really rang true because if you look at my strokes and you look at my grip and all of the technical things, I am not highly skilled, but I used to sit out in the court and last as long as I could. I'd win matches any way I could. One time I hurt my shoulder and I was serving underhanded the whole match, and I couldn't. And for some reason, I'm also what people call a pusher. So, and I remember one match I could hardly get the ball past the service line. I don't know why, but I just run every single shot down, and to me, I knew that if I worked hard enough and if I stayed out there long enough with the grit, I could win matches against people that were much more technically better than me and had much more talent. And so that was kind of my main motto to myself was you just get the next shot back, try for the next shot. I always even if I didn't think I could get there, I always tried to get there. Mm-hmm. And then that actually got to the point where if you try for every shot, you find that actually eventually some days you'll get to that shot. And so that was probably what got. I did not look. If you look at the way I play, you'd be like, "What the heck? This girl? How is she ranked where she is, or how did she get to play in college?" Because I don't have traditional strokes or traditional player. The way I play, I also play with 2 forehands, which really confused a lot of people, and also it helped me because I had a lot more. My wingspan was much wider. I could get to more because I could just kind of switch my racket and get to the shots. But yeah, it's funny. My coach in college really. He enjoyed the fact that I still enjoyed playing. I think a lot of people by the time they get to college, they're burned out, and sometimes it feels like a drudgery and just another thing. But I still wanted to play. I'd go out and play on my off days, and I enjoyed being out there. And I think that I think I still enjoyed it, and the joy of the game really is what helped me to I think encourage the team, and the joy of just being out there and playing and competing. It's funny because I there's nothing I do now that gets me as fired up as tennis used to get me.
Okay, I'm glad you hit on that, because one of the questions I had was talking about how, especially with girls, you notice when they get to college, summertime, they're off season.
Yeah.
You can't most of the time pay them to pick up a racket or play a tournament or come out and really practice. And I was going to ask you, so when you were still in college, you have your off seasons, you were still motivated to keep going?
We played every single day in the summer. I played a lot of tournaments in the summer, and I was also, I mean, it's funny because I was so mental about it that I was like, if I take too much time off, I'm gonna backslide. And then I really didn't have I knew that I was, I guess one of my strengths in my game was I was very consistent, so I didn't miss much. And so because of that, I felt like if I took too many days off, I'd become inconsistent, and then that would really, if I didn't have a whole lot of power, I didn't really hit a whole lot of winners. So if I was missing, then I would not, I knew that would really affect my game. So, but then again, I really actually recommend taking days off. I think a day off a week is probably healthy. It is healthy from from your body's perspective, but I didn't do that growing up. It's funny, the first time I took a true day off, I remember being like, wow, I'm not doing anything today. I'm gonna sit down, rest, and not really do much. And so, but that was after I finished playing in college.
So you hear a lot of people mention the life skills that you pick up in tennis, right? Always independent, kind of what you mentioned, no days off, really just working hard. Do you think it transferred into regular life?
100%. So something that really transferred well is the idea that, and I was actually reading some of the posters out there, and it's so true. The idea that until the last point of the game, until the match is over, you always have a shot. And the idea of coming back from behind, not losing heart, and really overcoming adversity. You get in tennis, you get cheated. There's times where things don't go your way. There's times where the wind is the feet, what were the words? The word
elements.
Yeah, the elements of the game. You're always having to really work and be determined and not let extraneous things really get to you. And I think in life, oh my gosh, there's so many times where life is not fair, and I think I'm just knowing there were so many times where I felt man, this wasn't fair, but continuing to work and continuing to believe in myself and continuing to overcome that really in life totally helped me to be where I am today. And I think it's funny because people are like, man, why, you didn't do well on this, and then yet you kept trying, and what helped you keep going? And I was like, oh, that was my instinct was, of course, I didn't do well the first time, let me do it again, because that's how I think tennis really helped me to be that way. Yeah.
Did you deal with injuries throughout your junior career?
So actually, I was really fortunate, and I do think because of playing other sports, that actually helped my body to not. I had a few things here and there, I sprained some ankles, but nothing chronic that I really had to deal with, which I was very fortunate. And in college, I had a few. I actually strained my ab. There was a season that I had a strained ab and a strained pec, and I was alternating between. As soon as my ab felt better, I'd overdo it and hurt my pec and then hurt my ab again. But nothing that really, I was so fortunate. I did not have anything chronic that really kept me from, I didn't have to stay out a season, or I didn't do anything like that. We ended up, our big season, so I played soccer in spring, in the fall. And so my big tennis season, where I played a bunch of tournaments, was winter and summer. Okay. And so I did, it was funny because there are a lot of people that I played a lot of tournaments in the fall and spring that we didn't play. And so we got most of our points and things like that in the summer. But I think the reason I probably didn't get injured is because there were certain times of the year where we'd play less tennis and more soccer. And also that mental break of knowing, I don't know, I think sometimes people get burned out because every single day, putting that much pressure on yourself. And also, I was so blessed that I had parents that they did not put, like, they wanted us to work hard and they wanted us to behave well, and they wanted us to, you know, do our best. But my mom's saying before I went on the court was, God loves you, I love you, move your feet. That was what she said every single time, regardless of like who I was playing, what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I think I was very fortunate because that translated to, like, I never was worried. I mean, I wanted to do well for myself and I wanted to do well because I felt like I put a lot of work in, but I did not have the pressure of, oh my gosh, if I don't do well, my parents are going to do this. And unfortunately, especially in junior tennis, there's a lot of parents that
Absolutely.
put a lot of pressure on their kids. And I understand it's a huge financial, you know, you put a lot of you know, money and effort and time into your children, and you want them to do well. My mom's biggest things, the times they got most upset with me is when I didn't behave well.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. So actually, we all won a lot of sports awards when we were younger, and my mom was like the most proud of that. Like the times, I definitely had a temper, and so the times when I got like really showed my butt, those are the times my mom was like, I'm not taking your tournament if you're going to show your butt. But me losing, like, my mom was great. After I lost, my parents did not get upset with me. They were, you know, I never in my life tanked a match like that. If I had ever tanked a match, they would have, you're not going to play tennis if you tank a match.
Yeah.
But they never got upset with me for losing, and I think because of that, I was able to enjoy the game and not have that extra pressure.
I mean, that's awesome to hear. Like, I've been teaching here for 6 years now, and the longer I'm in it, the more frustrated I get with the parent piece of it and how you see these kids not playing for themselves, they're playing for other reasons. And I get it when they're younger, you want to instill certain things, but it sounds like with you're playing because you love it, and you don't feel that you have to play for somebody else, and that's why you kept practicing. That's why in the summertime in college you're not burnt out, because you're playing tennis because you love it, which I think is awesome. So
we are very lucky. I mean, I think the people you find the people that are the best are the ones that are doing it because they love it.
Absolutely.
And I think, you know, ultimately if you're doing it for another reason, you're going to get burned out. And that also echoes to life. Like, you have to do things, you have to find your passion and pursue your passion. And if you are, you know, if you're pursuing your passion, no matter what happens, like, you're going to enjoy what you're doing. Like, and so I find that with me, where I work now, like, I love what I do. And I work crazy hours, and at times it's hard, and there's a lot of hard things you do, but in the end, like, I love what I do, and so, you know, all the stuff in between is worth it.
Yeah. Was med school the hardest thing you've ever done?
Med school is really challenging. Yes. Med school's challenging. I think, I would say yes. Medical school, the combination of the hour, like the amount you have to learn, the hours, and then also there's the stress of like, you can put all this time in, and there's a couple of big tests and boards and things like that that actually will determine where you match and things like that. And it's actually funny because I remember like let's say like the SoCon tournament in college, I remember being like, man, both teams put so much effort in, and yet, like, someone's going to lose no matter how hard they work. Yep. And the thing with, actually, I was thinking about this some of the times when I was, like, putting a lot of work in with these tests, and I was like, you know, the nice thing is, like, for the most part, if you put in a lot of work, you usually do well. Some of these board exams, I feel like, is the same way, where it's like, man, I could put in all this studying, and then, like, depending on what questions they ask and, like, what I don't know, like, I could still not do well. But it is definitely, I mean, I would say, med school has definitely been, third year of med school was my hardest year of my so far of my career. Yeah, you just hear that all the time. You hear, I've talked to the doctors that were like, med school is just, it's brutal, but it's worth it when you get done, supposedly. So yeah, it is. It's, I mean, I think it's one of those things, and it's also, I'm close enough that I feel for the medical students. Like, you know, you also have to remind yourself that, like, there's life outside of med school, because like it tends to suck you in, and then, like, but you have to remember, you have to still live life when you're in med school, and you have to do the things that, like, you can't, you know, you don't want to miss the big picture while you're in med school, because life's going to pass you, like, you know, you don't want life to pass you by while you're doing it.
So other than that, what would you say is the biggest challenge that you've overcome to get where you are?
This is a good question. So I can think of a time. This is like something just, I don't know, I'm making a tennis face, but so my my sophomore year of college, where was it? Yeah, sophomore year. So sophomore year of college, I actually had a paralyzed vocal cord for 3.5 months. And this is probably not going to be the hardest thing in my life, but this is something I could think of that really shook me a lot. So I'm a very vocal person. I was as my coaches think, but I was kind of the cheerleader of the team. I was the person that was always, screaming the loudest, making sure everyone was motivated. And also in life, I like to talk. and my tennis game is, my whole idea is outlast my opponent. So when I paralyzed my vocal cord, it was lying in the center of my airway. So it was like breathing through a straw at the same time that I could speak like this at the loudest, so no one could hear me. And my dad's actually, strangely enough, an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor. So he actually deals with people with paralyzed vocal cords. And each month that goes by is like the probability of it improving goes down dramatically. So by the time when it actually started getting better, which was at the time, I was already without hope. Like, I thought that it was going to be the rest of my life, that I wasn't going to be able to speak. And it was also during tennis season. It happened I started getting sick in November, and I think it was like a viral induced just like process. But I was sick beginning of November, and I lost my voice, and then it stayed gone, and all the way through into February. So it's and like I still tried to practice every day, but like I'd start kind of having stridor and wheezing because I couldn't breathe when I pushed myself too hard. And then I played a few matches, and I lost matches I would have never lost because I couldn't breathe. And I remember at that point I was just like, it really shook my identity, because for me it was like, okay, well, my identity was as a tennis player, like this is taking away my strength, it's taking away my identity as someone who's very vocal and very supportive, and I couldn't be that. I remember like I couldn't be in restaurants because no one could hear me, and so like that was a very challenging part of my life. And honestly, I was very fortunate; it actually got better on its own. I took a few steroid courses, but I was looking into surgery. There was like surgery where you can reimplant or like kind of shift over your vocal cord. And it would help I could either make it shift closer so that it would actually impair my breathing, so I probably couldn't push, I probably could not have played tennis, but I could talk, or I could have shifted it farther where my breathing was better, but my voice was gone. And so it was one of those things where that was a hard part of I remember that was very challenging. It taught me a lot about actually what mattered in life. I was like, okay, in the end, if I'm not good at tennis and I end up like not being able to play, like, is it gonna matter? Like, and it really shook me as far as like, okay, like what else, if I'm not gonna be the person that talks all the time and that's very, vocally supportive, but how else can I support people, or how else can I be, So it was actually, it was a big growth process, but it was definitely hard. And also it's funny looking back, because I now work with pediatric patients that are very sick and have much worse things happen in their life, and I'm like, man, I thought that was hard, and like I was still healthy and able to play and able to do things and able to study, and like that was not bad. But for me at the time, with like what was important to me and what I really saw kind of stop my identity in, that was hard.
Well, I'm really glad that you recovered, because it would have impacted our ability to do this podcast.
Yes, it's true. You're not heard me.
Yep. But thank you for taking the time, and it was a real pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.